Hi everyone, I'm Haruka, and as you can probably tell from my name, I am not 100% Indonesian. My mom is from Purwokerto, Central Java, while my dad is from Hokkaido, Japan. However, my nationality is still Indonesian, and I am more exposed to Indonesian culture rather than Japanese language, tradition, or customs. In my family, we talked in a variety of languages. When I converse with my dad, my mom, or her side of the family, I always talk in Indonesian. Meanwhile, I talk in English with my siblings. My dad talks in Japanese if he's with his friends or calling his family members, while my mom and her family regularly code switch into the Banyumas dialect when they talk to each other or when they want to converse in secret without any non-Japanese person overhearing them. So in my family, the Indonesian language has sort of become a unifying factor because everyone understands that one language. By using Indonesian, I implement the core value of the third principle in Pancasila, which is Persatuan Indonesia or Unity of Indonesia. Despite being able to speak different languages and coming from different backgrounds, and despite our differences, everyone in my family speaks in Indonesian, including my own father. Other than languages, my family has its own customs and traditions. Perhaps the most frequent Javanese tradition that my family still practice is Selamatan. Selamatan is a form of syukuran or Thanksgiving event where people form a communal feast. We usually invite relatives, our neighbors, and a religious leader to lead the prayer. Traditionally, it is done by sitting cross-legged on a mat encircling a tumpang, which are multiple layers or a cone of rice with side dishes encircling it. We usually begin the occasion by praying, cutting and eating the tumpang, and then we started on the feast. But sometimes, or most of the times, we just pray and then immediately go eat the food. This communal ritual carries quite a few core values of Pancasila, particularly the first, second, third, and even the fifth principles. When we pray during Selamatan, we recognize the existence of God and pray to be grateful for all the things that God has given us, reflecting the first principle. The first principle entails that we believe in our God and that we have a personal relationship with our God. And so when we pray during Selamatan, we fulfill those values. Additionally, the tradition of Selamatan also symbolizes social unity, with everyone from neighbors, siblings, relatives taking part in the communal feast. And one of the core values of the third principle is promoting socialization. So when we practice Selamatan, when we have people from different houses, from different families gathering together and united over one celebration or one event, we are practicing the third principle of Pancasila. The second principle, a just and civilized humanity, entails the recognition of equal degrees, rights, and responsibilities as humans, as well as developing empathy, respect, and practicing humane acts. In my family, when we do this tradition, everyone recognize their own responsibilities so that the burden is not just on the one who hosts the event. For example, when my family attended a Selamatan celebrating the birth of my nephew, we also helped them by providing food or by giving them some money. Another would be when my family hosts the Selamatan for my brother's kitan or circumcision ceremony, my relatives still help prepare and provide some food. I help by documenting the event and helping to host the circumcision doctors or specialists. Some of my relatives also help by inviting a religious leader to lead the prayers. This reflects another value of the second principle, which is tenggang rasa, or empathy or respect. By attending and helping the possession of selamatan, attendants show that they appreciate and respect the host. They empathize with the family situation, therefore they wanted to help. And this demonstrates a just and civilized act of humanity. After all, it is just morally right or fair and civilized to gather with family and help each other. Furthermore, my family's custom of selamatan also reflects the fifth principle of the Pancasila. The fifth principle, social justice for all, contained core values such as showing behaviors of fairness and gotong royong, or mutual assistance. We give help to others so that they can stand on their own, and we maintain a balance between rights and obligations. Thus, when me and my family and my relatives mutually assist each other to ensure that the workload is fair, therefore the hosts are not burdened, and the selamatan is a success, we are reflecting the core values of the fifth principle. Another interesting traditional component or element that me and my family practices are cultural values. My family holds values that reflect the cultural values of Indonesia. As a family, we apply the value of musyawarah, or democratic discussion. This reflects the fourth principle of Pancasila, because the fourth principle of Pancasila explained that we must be able to express our own opinions, and we must also create judgments or make decisions not solely based on our own opinion, but based on discussion with everyone else, and then decide on a decision based on everyone else's opinions as well. So when we express our own opinions and make decisions that encompass everyone's opinions, doing a family musyawarah, we have reflected the fourth principle of Pancasila. For example, when we decide on family vacations, like in 2019 for example, we decide to go to Seoul, South Korea after a thorough discussion, after a thorough musyawarah, where it is not just one person's opinion that we should go to South Korea, but it is almost everyone else's opinion. Another cultural value that my family, specifically my mom's side, still practice is nrimo ing padum. This Javanese philosophy of nrimo ing padum makaryo ing nyoto contains the lessons of being calm, avoiding rash actions, and accepting things that happen in your life. But we also have to try and work hard. When my mom moved to Jakarta from Purwokerto to pursue her education and a better job prospect, she had to face a lot of hardship. However, she and Rima are accepted the struggles and still work hard. She stayed in Jakarta despite facing lots of challenges and despite facing lots of difficulties with her job. Finally, her hard work brought results and she met my father. If she gave up and did not adhere to the Japanese philosophy or cultural value, she would have moved back to Purwokerto and I wouldn't even be born. Turns out, after some reflection, I also implemented this cultural value in my life. After working and studying hard before an exam, whatever the result of the exam be, I try to nrima or accept the result because I already know that I have done my very best and I already tried very hard. So this Javanese philosophy is also attributed to Islamic teachings such as tawakal, surrendering to God, and ikhtiyar or effort. Speaking of Islam, most of my family members are Muslims, but my dad was a Buddhist. My maternal aunt marries my uncle, who is also a Japanese person and a Buddhist. Despite our religious differences, we all respect, tolerate, and support each other. As the first principle values taught us, we respect everyone's freedom in how they practice their own religion. Additionally, we do not let religion divide us but unite us, as the core values of the third principle of Pancasila stated. Even though I follow my maternal side religion, when I went to Japan, sometimes we went to temples to pray and pay our respect. Recently, because my paternal grandparents died, we also pay our respects at the Buddhist cemetery. Aside from that, we also celebrated Eid or Idul Fitri together, even though my dad is Japanese and does not follow Islamic beliefs. We also still practice sungkam, a traditional Javanese procession of forgiveness, with him. He still joins in on Eid and other Islamic celebrations. Other than religion, my family holds some traditional Javanese beliefs as well. Some of my family members still practice some Kejawen practices. Kejawen is a Javanese belief ethic and way of life. Occasionally, I even practice puasa Senin Kamis, which is fasting on Monday and Thursday. My other relatives, like my aunt or my grandparents, also fast according to the Kejawen belief. For example, they practice puasa muti, which means that they only break their fast with white rice and water. They also still practice puasa Senin Kamis and puasa Weton, which is fasting on the day of their birth. On a related note, my maternal family still believes in myth. In Javanese culture, there is this mythical concept called pamali, which serves mostly as warnings. When I was a child, she and my mother would always warn me not to go out during Maghrib or dusk because I could be kidnapped by Wewe Gombel.
Halo?
Halo Mbak Putri.
Iya, Mas Iqbal ya?
Iya, posisinya di mana ya?
Aku di SMA 20 Belong ya, Mas.
Oh, oke, siap Mbak.
Aku pakai baju warna coklat, celana panjang coklat, sama tas warna hitam ya, Mas.
Oh, oke, saya menuju sana ya Mbak.
Oke, ditunggu ya, Mas.
Oke.
Mas Iqbal ya?
Iya. Mbak Putri ya?
Iya.
Ini helmnya Mbak. Iya makasih Mas. Pakai masker nggak Mbak? Nggak usah. Ayo Mas cepetan udah maghrib. Oh oke Mbak.
As I grow older, I realized that this myth was told to me so that I become a more responsible and civilized person. How? Well, by recognizing that Maghrib is not the time to go out and disturb other people's time to pray, I become a more mindful human being that respects other people's time and comfort. And by doing that, we become a more responsible human being. As I wrote this down, I realized that my family is quite cultured, and I used to think that my family was not very cultured and did not practice many traditions. Turns out, we do practice a lot of traditions and cultural values. Moreover, I thought me and my family did not practice the principles of Pancasila in our daily lives. However, since the principles of Pancasila are ingrained in our culture and in our very being, by practicing our language, our customs and traditions, our cultural values, our religions, and even our myth, we have implemented the values of the 5 principles of Pancasila in our daily lives.
Ya, Mas. Tadi kita lewat mana ya, Mas?
Tadi kita belok kanan. Kita muter balik aja kali ya?
Boleh deh, Mas. Putar balik aja kali ya.
Loh, kita di sini lagi Mbak.
Iya ya, Mas. Kita lewat mana ya?